Republicans in this committee and the culture warriors of Fox News keep saying, look at the documents, look at the documents. So let's look. This purported investigation has received over 100,000 pages of documents, and not a single one shows any evidence of any wrongdoing, much less an impeachable offense. And taking a step back, even if Joe Biden had discussed his son's business ventures with Tony Bobulinski in 2017, and this is rhetorical, so what? What would be the high crime of misdemeanor? What would be the impeachable offense? We're talking about what private citizen Hunter Biden was doing with his time at the time, private citizen dad. This impeachment inquiry is not about facts or evidence. It's not even about impeachable offenses. It's about keeping the American people distracted while we do nothing on reducing gun violence, nothing on lowering healthcare costs, nothing on reforming our criminal legal system. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it's fair to say at this point that Republicans on this committee are relying on Mr. Bobulinski as their star witness, the only fact witness they have brought in person before this committee. So I think we'd all expect that Mr. Bobulinski would have extensive inside knowledge about the involvement they allege that President Biden and in Hunter's business ventures. As Mr. Parnas can vouch for, previous impeachment inquiries relied on whistleblowers and witnesses with intimate details of what went on, firsthand accounts of high crimes and misdemeanors. You could point to exactly what the allegations were and understand what was going on. There were laid out chains of events pointing to a named crime, lying under oath, obstruction of justice, abuse of power, incitement of insurrection. Yet we're left floundering here with zero direction and zero real evidence while we watch this kangaroo court struggle to continue on. And today we have Mr. Bobulinski, whose biggest contribution is that he had, quote, multiple meetings with Joe Biden. But let's be clear. He spoke with Joe Biden a grand total of 2 times in the span of less than 24 hours in 2017, and each was short. One in public in the bar of a hotel, and then for a few minutes backstage of the Milken Conference after Biden spoke about the efforts to fight cancer, which took the life of his son, Beau. I think we also need to clarify that while Mr. Bobulinski is all of a sudden today claiming that they talked business, but at no point did he mention this during his deposition under oath with this committee. At 2 different points when asked about what was said in these conversations, Mr. Bobulinski's account made clear that he had 0 substantive business discussions with Mr. Joe Biden. Mr. Bobulinski described those conversations twice during his transcribed interview, and both times he provided the same account. I'll read from the transcript of your interview, Mr. Bobulinski. You stated that you and Joe Biden discussed your, quote, family background in detail, as well as the Biden family's background and Joe Biden's, quote, appreciation for the military. Pages 48 through 52 and 268 to 271 of the transcript had these accounts. Based on your own account, you had 0 discussion of CEFC, the Chinese energy company. You had 0 discussion on shares of equity or capitalization of this failed business venture. Based on your own account, you simply exchanged pleasantries about your families and shared values, the kind of small talk any person would make if they had the opportunity to meet the former Vice President of the United States, and moved on. Yet today, when my Republican colleagues are so desperate for actual evidence, magically that story changes. And that's really at the heart of everything we're discussing today. Mr. Bobulinski has also been pushing his texts as records as proof, yet the Wall Street Journal found that none of it showed any role for Joe Biden and Sinahawk Holdings, and even Fox News reported that there was 0 evidence of business dealings involving Joe Biden. Mr. Bobulinski would have us believe that everyone is a liar except him, and except for when he's under oath. That everyone misremembers except for him and except for when he's under oath. The FBI, the Wall Street Journal, his business associations, all liars. This has been the least productive Congress in decades. We're just now in March, finally funding the government for this year. That's shameful. This unserious hearing is a waste of our time and our resources. I yield with that, and I yield the remainder of my time to Representative Crockett.
Yes, I just want to make sure that I point out, and this is not a question, just in case you wanted to know, that on page 174 of your transcribed interview, line 9, it says, "This is an absolute lie," in reference to talking about the FBI. What you stated—
I did not call the
what
FBI
was stated
agents
right
liars.
before that was, first of all— I said that I'm speaking, and I did not ask you a question. First of all, it doesn't say Tony Bobulinski told the FBI. This is a summary of 2 agents that took notes through my interview, and their summary apparently that they presented says Bobulinski first met in person with members of the Biden family at a 2017 meeting in Miami, Florida. This is an absolute lie. That is what it says. The final thing that I'm going to say is about this. What we have from Kim Buck, a Republican. I don't think that the impeachment of Biden is appropriate, and so House Speaker Mike Johnson's ability to talk me into staying here is going to be about as successful as his ability about talking me into an unconstitutional impeachment.
I'll let her have 30 seconds over. Chair now recognizes Mr. Burchett from Tennessee.